Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony Lee from a company called MEDIPIOST. We are a South Korean company developing allogenic umbilical cord blood-derived MSC products and some cord blood-derived immune cell therapy products. And I am responsible for global operations and also our subsidiaries both in the United States and in Japan. So just a quick overview about our company. We are established in 2000 South Korea, currently publicly traded. Apologize for the typo. Now the market cap is slightly lower than that, given the U.S. dollar. And also, we're doing clinical development outside Korea, mainly focusing in the United States and also in Japan for our therapeutic pipeline of products, really cord blood-derived MSCs. And in the center panel there, you can see the commercialized product called Cardistem brand name that has been approved by the Korean authority back in 2012 with the BLA after phase 1/2 trial and also phase 3 trial conducted in Korea. This was leading up to this was actually first MSC approval of allogenic source by any regulatory agency at the time. So since then, we had 10 years of market experience. And we're manufacturing that product currently out of our own facility, about some 3,000 square meters of clean room space based in Seoul, Korea. And also we are participating in trials of that product both in the US and also in Japan. The bottom of the screen, this is kind of cash cow business for our Korean parent entity, where we're doing a private cord blood banking fee for service, processing based cord blood, obviously, and storage for future potential hematopoietic stem cell transplant. And we hold about 43% of market share. That's about $20 million US top-line revenue every year as a fee-for-service. So the main area where we do the cord blood-derived MSC therapeutic pipeline development, first-generation product there, UCB MSCs. That Cardistem is our approved product, now in phase 3 trial in Japan. Also in the next year and a half, we'll be conducting a phase 3 trial here in the US. Two other programs, Pneumostem, that's for a pediatric lung indication called bronchopulmonary dysplasia for premature infants' lung, and also Neurostem is for late-stage Alzheimer's disease. All those programs are in clinical stage. And second-generation platform we call SMUP. This is basically a proprietary expansion and isolation of MSCs from cord blood, and then exposing them to a hypoxic culture condition. And we've got a couple of pipelines there, 01 at the top, IA, that is an intraarticular injectable. I show you some data in that, as well as being used, this cell platform, basically MSC seed cells from cord blood, has been an excellent seed cell that for gene modification. And so we're working on that as well as a further pipeline. At the bottom here, we have cord blood-derived immune cells, mainly focusing on regulatory T cells as an allogenic source of immune cells, and also NK cells derived from cord blood. So our therapeutic pipeline is really all focused on cord blood-derived stem cells, both MSCs and immune cells. So here are clinical stage MSC products. The top one, as I said, Cardistem has been on the market in Korea for 10 years. We're currently releasing about 4,500 or 5,000 doses every year within domestic market in Korea. And as I said, phase 3 ready in the US. And this month, we started actually open for a site in Japan for phase 3 trial, single pivotal. And then the SMUP IA01 is an injectable. We are targeting an early stage OA patients, whereas the Cardistem is actually a surgical administration of cells for mid to late stage OA patients. So I'll show some clinical data on that. Recently, we have expanded the knee joint label of Cardistem into ankle cartilage defect. That's a phase 3 indication widening trial in Korea. The readout of that data is in this quarter, late this year. And the BPD, it's, as I said, a prematurely born babies lung indication. This is an orphan drug. We've done phase 1 and 2 in Korea. Also phase 1/2 study has been done in the US. This is the SMUP seed cell platform we've developed, and we've licensed this cell to LG Chem, who has a life sciences division, and they have a gene modification research, and where the particular gene of their interest is inserted into our seed cell, and then there was a platform, a license out deal for the global markets for them to, LG, our partner, to develop a gene-modified cell therapy product in the global markets. So this is the product called Cardistem. It actually comes into two components. As I said, this has been on the market in Korea for 10 years, and it's basically allogenic cord blood-derived MSCs in one That's an API, 7.5 million cells. And then also the second component is a freeze-dried hyaluronic acid, where you actually mix the two together into an hydrogel and then surgically implant that into patients. And this is released as a live cell, so the expiry is rather short, about 2 days. And the past 10 years since we launched in 2012, we've now treated over 23,000 patients, and then some patients would receive more than one dose in their knees, so the number of products we released is actually higher than number of patients. So these are really the graph on the right-hand side shows the growth of this product in domestic markets, annually about 43% growth. And in terms of revenue, we are targeting about 17 to 18 million US dollars per year at the moment in Korea. So this product has been prepared and released as an allogeneic off-the-shelf product, and you can see in these cartoons that basically one of the other unique features of this product is that we actually implant this hydrogel, which is cell plus the I-chain mixture, where you see in the panel 3, into the surgically drilled holes, very similar to the orthopedic procedure known as microfracture, where you drill the holes through the compact bone and then create space, but at the same time, you release the bone marrow from the patient's own bone marrow underneath, which will contain the progenitor cells to become osteocytes and chondrocytes. So we're really stimulating, by implanting our cells on top, which is undifferentiated, they actually send signals down to the marrow progenitors, which is patient's own cells, and then they can actually go through a regenerative cycle, healing the bone and also the cartilage matrix on top. And which leads to, if you see on the right-hand side image there, that white portion in the middle is that regrown or restored cartilage from a 1 year ago image, which is left to that, the brown area where the bare bone is exposed. So that surgical procedure really leads to a natural endogenous regeneration, and our cells are really doing a stimulatory effect. And the middle panel there is when we conduct this phase 3 trial in Korea, we actually have not imposed any age limit on these patients to be enrolled. So you can see patients in all age groups across 50, 60, and beyond, they all respond in the same pattern where they regenerate cartilage in response to our cells that we implant. On the right-hand side, at 1 year time point, we morphologically show the cartilage can be restored, but more importantly, up to 3 and 5 years, we follow these patients for pain and function. The red line is microfracture without the cells, then basically their skull goes back to the basal level, so it goes back to the painful state after 2 years, whereas when we implant the cells and trigger that natural restoration response, the patients on the blue line, you can see that once that is improved in terms of pain and function at 1 year, is really extended up to 5 years in this case. So we're seeing that constantly in our market right now in Korea. So CardiStem on the left-hand side is really targeting the mid to late stage, so-called candidate grade 2 and 3, is really advanced stage, bare bone, and then we surgically implant in combination with marrow stimulation to restore cartilage. On the right-hand side column there, that's an SMUPI. That's the next generation platform derived cells. They're really injected into early stage OA patients. They have some cartilage left, but they're starting to show some symptoms. So we're really covering the OA portfolio to cover both the early stage OA patients with simple injection, and then as well as as I demonstrated to you, the cartilage restoration product for mid to late stage or more advanced stage patients. So this is the injectable to really prevent or help the early stage OA patients. The main mechanism of action is very strong anti-inflammation to take away the pain elements, but really importantly, the degradation of cartilage or cell death of chondrocytes are all slowed down or prohibited by or inhibited by the cells that we introduced, and that results in the bottom right-hand side graph. That is a pain score. Obviously, higher the pain, you have more pain, and this is first in human phase 1 study patients from Korea with a single injection, and then they can actually reduce the pain and then improve function, but that pain improvement is really extended up to 48 weeks in this graph, and we've just recently confirmed that is now extended to 2 years. So with a injection into an early stage patients, then we can really help them to prolong or slow down the disease progression with pain-free state, at least up to 2 years confirmed so far. So this is our US and Europe commercialization plan. It goes a bit long, I guess, into 2028 in FDA here with pivotal trials to be conducted between 2024 to 27, and then also in Japan as we started just now the phase 3 trial. So our Japanese approval would come around about 26, and then 2 years after that we anticipate it being in the United States. And throughout the blue bar in the middle, that is a Korean real-world evidence, so to speak, a collection that we are doing currently in Korea with these treated patients on the market to really follow follow them long term, and then to really see economic benefit and long term as well as the quality of lives. At the bottom there, the injectable product, as I mentioned to you, this is we are almost finishing enrolling and treating phase 2 patients. That's a double-blind control study in Korea. We'll get the readout, and then our intention is to come to the United States with phase 2B trial, hopefully in about 3 years' time. So just last few minutes, I would like to talk about our manufacturing capacity. In Korea, we actually operate what you see there, about 11 clean room suites, half of which is actually dedicated for our commercial manufacturing, the other half for various purposes. And we're now really entering into a field of CDMO business where we get a lot of clients, particularly within Asia and Korea, that they really want to work with us. You can see the number of the orange pie in the middle showing the number of developers and therapeutic pipelines in cell therapy field that are about 2/3 of that of the North America. So there are really fairly big number of Asian companies coming out with the cell therapy developments and clinical developments. And their intention clearly is to go to the number one market, which is here in the United States. And they recognize that we have 10 years of commercial experience being in Korea, releasing every week for some 4,500 doses every year, and really our experience in clinical development in the US. And we've recently, or actually in the past several years, been interacting very closely with CCRM in Canada. That's a Center for Commercialization of Regenerative Medicine, nonprofit organization for ecosystem building and company incubation. And they have been really instrumental in our strategic partnership, where we go in and recently took over a equity stake in their fee-for-service CDMO business, which is spun out of their CCRM headquarters in Toronto downtown. There's 10 clean room, and then excellent PD labs there with 2 of the clean rooms dedicated for viral vector production. And here was the news. So MEDIPIOST is making $80 million in the next year or two, and then we'll be acquiring 50% stake of Omnia Bio, which is basically a CDMO service arm that has been spun off out of CCRM, and we are having our strategic relationship in Korea as well for any North American companies or European companies might want to do and some clinical development work in Korea for manufacturing, then we can actually provide that too. As well as here, you can see on the screen, the middle column, that's the new construction that's just begun last week. So in the next 2 years, we anticipate to build up our capacity. In addition to the 10 clean rooms we already have at CCRM, which is in downtown Toronto, the Omnia Bio in the middle will have some additional 15 to 20 more clean rooms and to be operational by late half of 2024. So we got some opportunity in North America as well as in Asia. I guess that's my take-home message. And here is my contact details. If any of you want to reach out to me, please feel free to email. Thank you for your attention.